I have a confession to make. I have not been very good in my due diligence of packing my freeze-dried food. It has gotten away from me, and so because it's so hot outside, I thought I'd take the afternoon off and to catch up on my packing and cataloging my freeze-dried food. So I went through the stack of all this food, and this is several months. I mean, I got some stuff from February, March, April, May, June, and so I went through and I sorted it by the month. And so now I'm going to go ahead and go through it, and I'm going to show you the way that I catalog my food. I think it's a pretty good way because it's easy to manipulate. I have a bunch of food here for March, and what I do, I lay it out. I have a Sharpie. I'm going to go ahead and start labeling it. So I'm going to take the bag, and in the upper corner, I'm going to mark a 1. So my 5-layer bean dip is going to be number 1. I got some pad thai chicken is number 2. I got mild cheddar cheese is number 3. Now I have like 2 things of sharp cheddar cheese. I got 2 things of bacon, and I have 2 things of Wiener Schnitzel. So I'm going to go through and mark the number corresponding to each individual bag, from 1 to 20. So right here I have 15 bags, and I'll need about 5 more. So I'm going to go ahead and start entering these bags into the computer. Often when my wife goes shopping at Walmart, she buys these 18-gallon tote containers. They usually run about $7 or so. It depends on how much inflation was this month. But these are really handy to put food into, the 1-gallon pouches. And I can usually get anywhere from 20 to 22 pouches per container. And so that's how I store all my freeze-dried food, is in these containers. Until I can get my labels printed, I'm just going to go ahead and mark that this is container number 39. So I'm going to go over here to my laptop. I can put in 39 because this is tote number 39, and I'm just going to start at number 1 here. I'm going to go ahead and go through and record all my packets labeled from number 1 to 22. Once I have the first row of bags in here, and this is bags from 1 to 10, so I can take the other bags, I can put them inside. Like the bacon is really skinny, I can put several of those in there. So I can just fill up all the corners. I can put them upside down on top of the other ones, and before you know it, I have 20 bags in here, and there's still room for a few more. So I printed off 2 inventory lists. One will go inside the tote, and the other will go on the outside of the tote. Now I've used different tapes in the past. Clear 2-inch packing tape will work sometimes, but over time sometimes this will release. What works better is duct tape, but what works even better than that is Gorilla duct tape. That sticks to just about everything. So I'll take my inventory list and I'll go as high up as I can right underneath the handle. And form it to the side of the tote, since the tote is really not flat on the side. So something like that. When it comes time to pull from my inventory, then I can just go ahead and put a date or an X right here showing that I pulled this particular packet on a particular day, and then I can from time to time update the lists on my computer as well. It may be a little bit more time consuming, but I think it's a good way to stay organized. This is the inventory list I currently use, and I've had some pretty good success with it. And I'll post some of the templates for this list on Google Docs. The first thing to bring to note is I have a template of my inventory list for each individual tote. As I open this up, it's basically a simple Excel spreadsheet. If you're working on your first tote, you can come over here and put in a 1, and it'll go ahead and populate all the other tote numbers. If this is your 22nd tote, it will also populate that number as well. And you can come over here under item, put in the food that you freeze dried, and you can put in the date in which it was freeze dried, and it'll go ahead and put the date. And then you can either come over here when you actually remove the food, you can put it in X, or you can come in here and perhaps put in the date of when you used the food as well. But you just go ahead and you can just go ahead and populate each individual line with the item and with the date. And then I basically print 2 of these off. I put one of these inventory lists in with the food, and I tape the other inventory list on the outside of the tote. Once my inventory list is populated, I'll go up and I'll hit spell check. I love spell check. And we'll see if we have any issues here. And it looks like they're saying the Wiener Schnitzel is 2 words. Well, that's fine. Okay, so right here it says that this is the template for the tote inventory list, but I'm actually on tote number 39, so I'm going to go up here to File and Save As, and I'm going to go ahead and go into here, and I'm going to delete the word template, and right after list I'm going to add 39 because this is my 39th tote. So now I have tote inventory list for 39. We're going to come over here and we're going to grab all this new data. We're going to grab these 4 columns and we're going to go ahead and copy. And we're going to come down here to the master inventory list. We're going to scroll down to the bottom of the master inventory list. We're going to click on that cell right there and we're going to go ahead and hit paste. And now the inventory from tote number 39 is added to the master list. We're going to go up in here and save, and that's pretty much all that needs to be done. So you can see I have several inventory lists. Here's one of the examples I've done here. When naming my food, I do a particular style. If it's a food that has several components which could be classified as a meal, I'll actually put in that it's a meal, comma, potatoes, comma, funeral. I kind of do it the backwards military style. So if it's said backwards, it makes sense. So these are funeral potatoes, which are a meal. Same thing with the sloppy Joe mix. Down here, I have cheese, cheddar, mild. So if you say it backwards, it's mild cheddar cheese. If you're doing a sort, it'll help you look for a particular food. So let's go ahead and close this one out. And I'm not going to save that. This is my master inventory list. All the individual inventory lists have been cut and pasted to this document. And this is what I like best about using a spreadsheet. I can come up here to this little triangle and I can click this, and this will highlight the entire document. I can then come up here to where it says sort and filter. If I come down here to custom sort, I can then sort this by individual column. Now this one right here is defaulted column D, which is the actual tote. But if I come over here and put in column A, which is going to be my items, this will give me an idea of what I currently have in inventory in alphabetical order. So you can see I have apple slices, apples, I have apricot, asparagus, and avocados, beans, and it just gives me everything that I have in alphabetical order. If I wonder or want to know what kind of meats I have, well, I can go ahead and scroll down here to the M's for meat, and this will give me an idea of what meat I've freeze-dried so far, if I can find the beginning of the meats. Okay, for example, I have meat, beef, assorted cuts, sliced. I have meat, well, if you say it backwards, I have raw roast beef or raw roast beef meat. I have cubed chicken, roasted chicken. I have lots and lots of ham slices, Kahlua pig, crab, London broils, pork ribs, scrapple. Now, if you don't know what scrapple is, and if you're not from the East Coast, my wife loves scrapple. My definition of scrapple is what's not worthy to go into hot dogs. So anyway, I hope I didn't offend anyone on the East Coast. But anyway, I have freeze-dried scrapple. Okay, we have lots of shrimp, we got tapia, tuna fish, turkey. So these are all my meats. Now, if I'm getting concerned on what's on the age of my food, then I can undo that particular search and I can go once again and highlight it. And if I go under column B, this will have the date of which everything was freeze dried. So if I go back over here under sort, custom sort, and if I go under column B and hit OK, this will now give me all my food by date. Well, I can see right here that I made a mistake. I'm sure I did not package this food in 2002. That's supposed to be 2020, I'm sure. But this shows the date when I probably got my freeze dryer and did some of my first foods, which was back in February 18th of 2020. So I can take a look if I'm concerned about my food coming near an expiration date. I can run a sort on date and say, okay, well, it looks like I'm going to be having some raw roast beef and for dinner, along with maybe some cheddar jack cheese. Oh, look at here, we got some hot dog slices and some other things going by date. By having everything into a spreadsheet, it just makes it a lot easier to keep track of your food. I'd like to give you an example of why I like putting all my freeze-dried inventory on a spreadsheet. Let's say I want to plan a dinner and I am in a mood for London broil. I love London broil. On your keyboard, there's a key called Control, which is abbreviated by CTRL. If you press down Control and then the letter F, you'll get this little window that pops up. So let's say I want to look for London broil in my inventory. You just have to put in a keyword. Let's put in London and I'll hit enter and it comes right up here, meat, beef, London broil. It looks like I did this in June 6th of 2020. So if I go to tote number 17 and inside tote number 17, packet number 8 is going to be my London broil. So I have my protein. Okay, let's see, what else do I want for dinner? Let's say I want yellow squash. So I'm going to type in this yellow, or you can put in squash or whatever keyword you want. And let's see, so up comes yellow squash. Looks like I did this in August 3rd of 2021. So if I go to inventory, if I go to tote number 11, packet number 27, I'll have my yellow squash. Okay, so I have my meat, I have my vegetables, now I need a starch. So, what would I like? Ooh, twice baked potatoes. I love twice baked potatoes. Let's see if I have any. So if I put in twice and hit next, right here, I got twice baked potatoes back in December 28th, 2021. I bet you anything that was some leftovers from a Christmas dinner. So if I go to tote number 5, packet number 16, I have my twice baked potatoes. So I can go down to my basement, grab those 3 packages, rehydrate them, and I have a dinner all ready to go. Now, as I go through and do this, like on the twice baked potatoes, I do need to put an entry in here of either an X that tells me I pulled from that, but what I probably would like to do is put in today's date so that I know that on July 21st of 2022, I pulled my twice baked potatoes. So when I go down to my basement and I pull all this information out on my inventory list that's going to be on my tote, I'm going to record the same information so I know that that food is no longer there.
And that's one of the reasons why I like using a spreadsheet to keep track of my inventory. It makes things so much easier to find. The gist of all this is there's not a right and a wrong way to keep an inventory of your food. I'm just trying to come up with an accurate way and to share with you what I am currently using. I hope you found this somewhat helpful. If not, maybe this might plant a seed of creativity on a way that you can keep an accurate inventory. But anyway, thank you for your time. Go forth and freeze dry the world, and I will send you another video soon. And as always, please subscribe. Thank you.